Jean-Paul Sartre was one of the most influential philosophers of the 20th century. His work has had a profound impact on how we think about freedom, responsibility, morality, and the meaning of life. But what many people don't know is that Sartre had some pretty messed up views when it came to women. In this video, we'll be looking at some of the quotes from his work and seeing how they could be interpreted as misogynistic or even anti-feminist. And if you like videos like this, then make sure to subscribe for more content. The first quote we're going to look at is, "Man is condemned to be free." This is one of Sartre's most famous quotes, and it's also one of the most misunderstood. What Sartre means by this is that we humans have the freedom to choose our own actions, but with that freedom comes a heavy burden, the responsibility for those actions. We can't blame anyone else for our choices or their consequences, because ultimately we are in control. For example, let's say that you're a student who has an important exam coming up. You could choose to study for the exam, or you could choose to go out with your friends instead. If you choose to go out with your friends and you fail the exam, you can't blame them for your failure. Ultimately, the decision to not study was yours and yours alone. Similarly, women are not exempt from this rule. They are just as capable of making their own decisions and taking responsibility for them as anyone else. However, some people interpret Sartre's quote, "Man is condemned to be free," as meaning that men and women are fundamentally different, because women are not condemned to be free. They are condemned to be objects of male desire. According to this interpretation, women are seen as passive beings who exist only to satisfy the sexual needs of men. But this interpretation is not only wrong, it's also deeply offensive to women. It reduces them to nothing more than sexual objects and denies them their fundamental humanity. Moving on to our next quote, "Let me, and I will teach you the alphabet." This one might seem pretty self-explanatory, but let's break it down anyway. When you put something before a woman, she will abandon everything to get it. She's willing to do anything to obtain what she desires. That's what this quote is saying. And what's wrong with that exactly? Is it really so bad to want things and to work hard to achieve them? No, it's not. In fact, it's admirable. The problem with this quote is that it generalizes about an entire group of people. Not all women are like this, just as not all men are like this. There are plenty of women who are ambitious and goal-oriented, and there are plenty of men who are lazy and unmotivated. So to say that all women are like this is just plain wrong. Moreover, this quote implies that women are only motivated by material things, like money or power. But this is also not true. Women, like men, are capable of being motivated by a variety of things, including love, compassion, and a desire for justice. Let's move on to our next quote. "Women never become anything because they refuse to be on their own." In this quote, Sartre is saying that women are fundamentally dependent on men. He believes that they need a man to support them financially and emotionally in order to be happy. Again, this is not only wrong, but it's also incredibly offensive. It denies women their agency and reduces them to little more than accessories to be bought by wealthy males. There are plenty of examples of women who are perfectly happy and fulfilled without a man in their lives. And there are plenty of men who are dependent on women for emotional or even financial support. So to say that women can't be happy or fulfilled without a man is just not true. Furthermore, this quote implies that women are somehow lesser than men. It suggests that they are too weak or too stupid to make it on their own, and that they need a man to take care of them. But this is just another example of the kind of toxic masculinity that permeated through much of 20th century thought. It has an attitude that views women as inferior to men and that seeks to keep them in a subservient position. Thankfully, this kind of thinking is becoming increasingly rare. More and more people are recognizing that women are just as capable as men of living happy and fulfilling lives. Next, women want the absolute power which comes from being desired by all men. Here, Sartre is arguing that women want to be desired by lots of men because it makes them feel wanted and special. He believes that they crave the attention and admiration of men because it makes them feel powerful. Now, there may be some truth to this, but it's important to remember that not all women are the same. Some women do like the attention and admiration of men, while others don't. Some women enjoy the power that comes with being desired by many men, while others don't. To say that all women want the same thing is just not accurate. Furthermore, this quote implies that women are somehow manipulative or deceptive. It suggests that they purposely act in a certain way to attract the attention of men so that they can feel powerful. But this is just another example of the kind of toxic masculinity that permeated much of 20th century thought. It is an attitude that views women as inferior to men and that seeks to keep them in a subservient position. Thankfully, this kind of thinking is becoming increasingly rare. More and more people are recognizing that women are just as capable as men of living happy and fulfilling lives. Now, I should point out that none of these quotes are taken from Sartre's major philosophical works. Instead, they come from his personal letters and diaries. However, this doesn't make them any less problematic. In fact, it makes them even more troubling, because they show that Sartre harbored deeply sexist beliefs, even in the privacy of his own thoughts. In conclusion, Jean-Paul Sartre was a brilliant philosopher whose ideas have had a profound impact on the world. But he was also a product of his time, and he held some deeply sexist beliefs. The quotes we looked at today are just a few examples of the kind of toxic masculinity that was commonplace in the 20th century. Thankfully, this kind of thinking is becoming more and more rare. As we move into the 21st century, we must continue to challenge sexist and misogynistic attitudes whenever we see them. Only then can we hope to create a more equal and just world for all.